Hi guys, okay, so this is the first minute I've got to sit down this evening. So it's Christmas Eve and the girls have been super excited. They've had a call from Father Christmas, we've put our mince pies out, they have exchanged presents because that is something that me and my sister always did. We always gave presents Christmas Eve, so I wanted to start that same tradition with the girls. And they're in bed. Brooke has got up 3 times trying to I think she's just trying to check stuff out, make sure he hasn't been yet. And Texas has been up once because she's concerned that Father Christmas is trying to get in through the upstairs window, which I've assured her that he's not. So I am still staying at my mother-in-law's while my house is getting some work done on it, and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law have gone out to set up the Christmas table at my sister-in-law's for tomorrow. And so this is the first time that I've really had the chance to just be on my own, which largely I like being on my own, but I guess it's that time when you get to take stock. And actually for me personally, I could very easily just have a normal night and watch something on Netflix or the TV or whatever, do a little bit of work and just crack on as normal. But obviously everybody's been so lovely and kind and messaging me their messages of support, and it's a weird one because the messages are so lovely and so heartfelt, and I get so many messages of people that are going through it themselves and have followed my journey and have taken things from it and genuinely, you know, send me amazing messages, really beautiful messages. And actually in a weird way, the messages that I get of support kind of remind me of the stuff that's gone on, which is a weird, obviously it's not what the messages aren't really meant to do that, they're not doing that intentionally to make me feel sad, but in a weird way they kind of do. It's like happy sad though, because then the messages are really lovely, so it makes me feel like happy but then sad at the loss of Ross and Ross not being here. And I guess this time of night is the time when it's harder because me and Ross would be doing stuff, you know, if it was last Christmas we'd have been just around the house wrapping presents, and it wouldn't be anything, we were not as a couple anything other than just very straight, like, and I don't know, we didn't have traditions, we weren't really soppy as a couple as such, we just loved each other. And so it was a weird, I guess this time of night is the time when it would just be like chilling, relaxing, and obviously now it's just me, so that's the weird bit. I guess it's just the normal stuff, just hanging out, that's a bit like okay. And so I've been sort of thinking very briefly, because I'm not torturing myself, but I've been thinking about the journey over the last 4 years, the journey over the last year, and how so many of you guys will be going through the same kind of thing this year, and how so many of you guys are going through brain cancer and have loved ones that have brain cancer. And there was a story in the press this week, in the Mirror and the Daily Mail, about me and my family and about, you know, our journey. And I am a high profile supporter of the brain tumour charity. And those of you who are going through brain cancer, I would really recommend that you get in touch with these guys, because they've been an invaluable support for me and my family. And that's why I became a supporter of the brain tumour charity. And largely, the brain tumours are a very different cancer, because your brain is who you are, and you know, it's the essence of your personality. And so unfortunately with this disease, when it affects that, you can lose the person that you love long before you lose them, if you do. And I know that Ross's ethos and Ross and my husband, for those of you that haven't followed before this video, my husband died in July, and Ross had brain cancer for 3.5 years before he died, and we had a lot of time with him and a lot of amazing normal time. And his ethos was always, I've just got to stay in the game long enough, because he knew that people, you know, like the brain tumour charity were funding things that we're looking into cures for brain cancer and looking into stuff that can help those who are in the same situation. And he always just said, I just got to stay in the game. And unfortunately for Ross, he couldn't stay in the game long enough. But those of you that message me and maybe you've just had a diagnosis and you're scared, and you know you're going through this, and maybe you've just found out, or maybe you know whatever stage you're at. And firstly, I would say that my story does not have to be your story. And just because you see mine, don't go into a tailspin, because every single person out there is different. Every single brain cancer or cancer is different, and you will respond differently to the treatment that is on offer to you. And when you know that there's people working in the background on treatments and cures and things that can be done to help those with brain cancer, it's hope, and it's really reassuring. And I always had that. And yeah, unfortunately our outcome wasn't the outcome that you would hope for, but for many people it is. And that really is down to the work of those like the Brain Tumour Charity. And so for me, having that hope was very, very important, which is why I became a high profile supporter, because I know that we needed that hope, and I know that you guys who are going through that yourselves now need that hope as well. And the work is being done, and I 100% know that at some point they will connect the dots and they will work out why we're getting more brain cancer, and how we can work out how to fix this, you know. And unfortunately for Ross, it wasn't, he had it too early, and that wasn't there yet, and he had a particularly rare strain of brain cancer called a PNET tumour. It was mixed with a PNET and a glioblastoma, and so it was a particularly difficult one, and we knew that from the start. But the work is being done, and I always sort of thought, well, you know, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, isn't it? But you want someone looking for the needle, and the Brain Tumour Charity are doing that. And so that is, for me, why I've always supported the work that they do. And if you yourself are going through this, and your family are, and I know I get hundreds of messages a week, and that's not an exaggeration, across social media I get hundreds, whether it's people who've lost somebody that they love, or whether it's somebody that you're going through brain cancer, or you are looking after somebody, love somebody that is going through brain cancer. And my thoughts are this: first of all, this is your journey. Nobody else can tell you how to live it, and you don't have to do it in the way that you think you're supposed to do it. You decide how it runs. Me and Ross always from the very beginning went, this is ours, this is how we deal with it. We ain't going to deal with it like anybody else. We will deal with it on face value in the moment, and we're not going to fret and worry about what the next stage is. We're just going to get on with it. And so I would urge you to do that, and to live your life, and to live your life knowing that it might not be the outcome that you want. And that's not to live without hope, it's to go soak every second up. You know, I'm so grateful that I took so many pictures and I soaked it up. And I know, like, I can remember times when I was sat with Ross, proper remember times when I just thought for a minute my brain kind of went, acknowledged the situation, and I just for a minute thought, I might not get this moment again. And that might be weird for people to understand, because I always had hope, always. But there were times when we'd be just doing normal stuff, we'd be kicking around the house, we'd be watching a programme, and I would look at Ross and I would think, I might not get this moment back, and I'm grateful that I've got it. And I've said to the girls recently, and I'll say it again, that even with everything that has happened, and believe me, it's been painful and it continues to be painful, I'd do it again, because people don't get that in their lifetimes. People don't get that kind of connection with somebody. And I've got two amazing daughters, and whatever the next stage of my life holds, whatever that next stage is, I'm really glad that I had that, regardless of all the tough stuff. And so it's about soaking up those moments. And if you're going through that, just Just soak it up, just be with that person, be real, be straight, be honest, and recognize that, you know, if it's really bad, if it's at the stage where you know that it's maybe can't be cured, or there's not, you know, it's not a great chance of it being cured, then just do the stuff that you want to do. Because if you get 6 months with that person, and that 6 months is amazing, and it's filled with love, and it's filled with you doing stuff that you wanted to do and be, some people never get that, and it might not feel enough, because it's never going to be, because when you love somebody you never want them to go, but you'd rather have that than not. And that's the way I look at it. So if any of you are going through anything similar, then I'm sending you so much love, so much support, and just know that you can get through that. You can get through this, and you would do it in your way.